Hey everyone, we're going to do another Zonker fly today. If you go back on my channel, there was one I did, I called an edge shimmer because of the material it used, but this is basically the same thing, a little larger version, uh, and a little bit slightly different. I shouldn't say a little bit, just slightly. Um, Larger profile for one. So let's get started here. In the vise, we have a 3/32 ounce freestyle jig. It's got a 2/0 VMC 9147 hook. Uh, I really like this hook, especially in the um, 2/0 and 3/0 sizes. It's light, but it's really strong. It deflects at the hook point not very much. It's not like gonna bend out on you easy as long as your tackle's matched up. It's a really nice hook. I use them in my tube heads where I don't want a large, heavy wire hook, but I do want something a little stronger than the typical 90-degree light wire. And this is it. This will do it without breaking the bank. So let's get started here. As the color is silver, and I just put a little bit of black on the top there. I call this my bait flash pattern, and you'll see why. So we're going to take a little bit of super glue brush on and just put some along the shank of the hook. Not a lot, just enough to lock our thread in. And we'll get our base started. We're using black 210 denier flat wax nylon thread, as always. Except for the crappy jigs, I like the 140 for that. But you could use 210 and be perfectly fine. So I'm going to go all the way down, right about the hook point, a little past it, a little bit before it, you're fine. And then we're going to work our thread back up. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some small gold wire. Doesn't have to be gold. You can add silver wire, black wire. It doesn't matter. I just happen to have the gold in the small wire. And I'm going to leave half an inch or so out when I tie this in, and I'll show you why. So we're going to come down, and then we're going to fold that little piece over. That's going to lock our wire in. Okay, I'm going to pull that straight and off to the side. Now, the next thing we're going to add, this is variegated tinsel chenille in a color called black pearl. Really nice stuff. Depending on what kind of light you're looking at it in, it's the pearl definitely has a lot of iridescent qualities to it. And I strip a little bit off the end there and tie in by the core. And we'll work our way back up. And now we're going to start wrapping the chenille. Keep your wraps close, but um, you don't have to really double them or triple them or anything. Just keep them close. This is the medium size. And right there is where we're going to stop it, because we're going to want that gap. And you'll see why when we get so far in. Real easy to tie, actually. And it's a fantastic little jig. I didn't took a long time for me to put it on the channel with the Ned shimmer, and the reason I didn't is because there's a ton of flies out there. Um, Zonkers is what they're called, and there's so many videos out there on it that I just never did it. But in a jig, it is a little different. So now what I'm going to do, the next thing is, this is shad gray barred rabbit strip. It's a rabbit zonker. And what I do is I'm going to line it up with that gap there. That's where it's going to go. And where it's actually going to lay in against the body, or the hook, right, rather. And I'm going to take this out of the vise. And I'm going to stick it through. This is the hardest part of the whole thing. It's kind of awkward because you want it to get it to pierce straight through. Go over the barb. There we go. And by doing it this way too, if you mess it up a little bit, you can always trim some at the back, the front. So if you're gonna, when you're lining this up, kind of err on the side of being too long in the front. Now I get the hair away and put her back in the vise. If I could see. And there we go. I'm going to move this out of the way because I don't want to tie that in. Now, I'm going to take a material. This is called Wing and Flash. It's really, really thin and light material. This is different than all your other flashes. And what I like to do with this stuff, I have one short one in there that I gotta grab. Like I said, if you gotta watch with this because it is really light material, but it has a different quality than other flashes. You'll see it in the water when I run a test on it. Got to get my wire out of the way here. And what I do is I'm going to line this up so it's right at the end, maybe a little bit shorter than the end of that rabbit zonker. I'm going to fold it over, tie it in, get it close. I'm going to hold it down here at the sides while I put a couple more wraps. Yeah, this stuff is really, really light. Now, I got that in there. I'm going to spin my zonker around here. I'm going to flip this up. Make sure we're lined up pretty good. And I'm going to pull the hair out like this. And put yep. See, I have a little bit extra that I can trim off here. Beautiful. And I'm just putting one, maybe two, if I can get it in there the right way. Just to hold it, to hold that straight while I wrap this zonker. I'm going to pull the hair up and get my wire here. This is, like I said, it's a little awkward. I got to hold my flash up. Once we get this first wrap, we should be good. remember, the hardest part with this is keeping it centered on your hook. You don't want to trap too many hairs down. And I don't want to pull all that flash with me. So far, so good. Unlike that Ned shimmer material, well, the shimmer rabbit, this rabbit is kind of on the fuzzy side, so the hair is a little bit difficult splitting. Without trapping any down. Don't worry if you get some of your flash trapped. This stuff is really light. You can pull it out or you could cut it off. We always use a little bit more for that purpose. And we're good. Now we'll trap this wire down and cut it. Remember to use a cheap pair of scissors because you will dull them cutting wire. I apologize for that being a little awkward there, but and that's, like I said, the worst part of these Zonker flies, at least for me. Get my flash material pulled out. And yes, I did want to keep that flash pinned down with the wire. That's why I put it on when I did, because I want it to flow back and I don't want it to come out too far. So the next thing we're going to do is a schlaupen feather, and I'm going to tie it in by the butt end. Line up our stem, couple wraps in front, wrap behind, and wrap our feather. I start at the butt because I want it longer, because we're only going to put like, that's it, 3 wraps. Get that trap down. Wet my fingers and pull this back so I can wrap down to push the feather back so it lays back towards the body of the zonker. Now we'll whip finish it. Cinch it, and 4 more. have it. And a little bit of zoom or loon. Listen to me, zoom. A little bit of loon, water-based head cement. Don't need much. That's it. And I'll show you what we have here. And there you have it. That is our bait flash Zonker jig. Real easy. Like I said, for me it was awkward. Trying to keep my fingers out of the way I'm wrapping it. But that's the hardest part of it, is trying to wrap the wire and keep it from trapping all the fibers down. Don't worry if you get some, you're gonna get some. But you can see how that flash is all sticking out the back and you're getting it around the body. That's the whole purpose of that wing and flash when you're wrapping that. Now you got the reflection from your chenille and that wing and flash. And the wing and flash comes back to the tail. It's going to add a lot of sparkle and action. Really good one to do. This is one you can use all year round. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.